And this fucking chair won't stop going down.
Sounds like you need to swap out your piston.
Yeah, or just get a piece of PVC tube and put it at the max and then leave it there.
There you go.
Either way.
But I'm lazy. I will go to 17 stores to find a shitty energy drink. But I'm not going to Home Depot to get a PVC pipe. No way.
Fuck Home Depot. Go to Harbor Freight, get yourself a jack stand, and just, you know.
There you go.
A jack stand and some zip ties, and you'll be set, man.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
No, but sure.
For more redneck tips, please tune in to.
That's right. This very show. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonbear.
Howdy.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
Those ones are the numbers one, and thank you, Pharaoh in chat, for ruining my day by reminding me it was daylight savings time today.
I'm really feeling it this time. Real rough. You get all the early access, behind the scenes, all the great episodes. There's a brand new episode of The Wayward Sons, which is the supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and the Nimp are going through. So you can get a brand new. That is exclusive on the Patreon for $5 a month or higher. Don't forget to tell your rich friends. Tell them it's like $500 a month. It's a steal. Yeah.
It's fun for a $5. $5 meaning $5,000.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Special rich person only tier. Sign up. Sign up now. They're going fast.
You get the honor of flying us to your location so you can meet with us.
No, I don't know if I want that. I'll just take your money.
Depends on the rich person.
Yeah, that's true. You get early access to Critical Misses and We Roguelike It, and you get the behind the scenes stuff with the Outcast, where we, if you're a patron, you got to enjoy the super cut of Moon's Cursed Drinks this week, which turned out to be half an hour long, which is way longer than I was expecting it to be. So if you're a patron, go check that episode out, and all of that at the recommended tier of $5 a month. That's for us normal elder millennials that don't have any money. All of that, patreon.com/E1M1.
1 equals number, not word.
All right, Moon, save me. What have you been playing?
I had a rough, I think is an understatement, but we'll use the word rough, and we'll understand that when I say rough, I mean horrifically terrible week this week. So I had a rough week this week, and as such, I didn't want to play anything. I did play stuff. I didn't want to, but I did because I needed something to distract my brain while also not taxing my brain. Which is why I went from rank 39 in Marvel Snap all the way down to 29. Thanks, Marvel Snap, for not working with my brain. That's fine. Whatever. Marvel Snap continues to be stupid fun. The main two things I played this week are Monster Hunter Rise, which we'll start with. So, let me just scooch my chair in real quick, flip it set backwards so I can sit backward like a cool youth pastor.
That's right. Let's have a real talk.
Let me give you some pro tips here. For those of you who haven't played Monster Hunter before, there are 2 tiers of Hunter rank. There is low rank and high rank. And basically, it's a way of getting you to play the same game twice, essentially. Where you start on low rank, you start harvesting monsters, you get a bunch of materials, you make some armor, and it's like, cool, now you're high rank. Now you fight the same monsters, except they drop the monster name scale plus. So they have a little plus at the back end of it.
Or alpha, or prime, or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. So it's basically like a new game plus, except you still have all of the old missions you did kind of thing. The difference is when you get to high rank monsters, that's when they start throwing Elder Dragons at you and things like that. Like the big, really mean things that can do a lot of damage to you and are... In Monster Hunter World, it was some of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. Because it's like, oh, This is a giant dragon that's taking up my entire screen, and one of its attacks is it flies in the air and drops bombs on you like an artillery plane. Like, it's insane. So I got up to the Monster Hunter Plus, the high rank Hunter missions in the hub area. That's the multiplayer zone of Monster Hunter Rise. And I got up to that at like 4-star missions. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to do the village missions to get the village missions up to the like high rank missions so I can do the single player equivalent. So I start doing that, and I start, working my way through the village missions. I just unlocked like 6-star missions, I think it was. And at no point does it say high rank. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, I did a bunch of missions. Why am I not high rank on the village? And then it stopped giving me like village quest notifications in the top corner. Because every single village mission is a low rank mission. It does not give you the little pluses. It only gives you regular mats. You can only do the high rank missions on the hub section, which is the multiplayer section, which is where the monsters are harder. They have more health. They seem to be a lot more, like, all of their stats seem to have that percentage dialed up to like 50% higher kind of thing. So they do more damage. They have more health. They're harder to track down and kill. It's like, come on. So now I have to work my way through the hub quests to try and get my plus gear, my plus mats, so I can make my high rank gear. And at the same time, I have taken a page out of Rob's book, and I am trying to maximize my palicos. And I keep forgetting that when you do the hub quests, if you send out a request, you can only take 1 pet in rather than 2. So I need to remember that, and then make a decision if I'm taking my doggy in to ride, or if I'm taking my palico in to get me extra materials. So I did a lot of village quests, which were like, yeah, cool, I can knock these out in like 20 minutes. And now I'm on the point where now I need to do the hub quests, which less 20 minutes, more 47 minutes kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you've got 5 minutes left. It's like, great, I've got 5 minutes left and 2 monsters to capture. Better get a book on. Yeah, Monster Hunter is kind of still great, and it's kind of 100% my jam still. Like, I feel like this is the action version of a JRPG. Like, if you're a JRPG fan and you like, the random encounters, grind out to get, extra levels, and then use that extra levels to go kill a boss or a secret boss, or defeat Ultimate Weapon outside of the stupid Golden Saucer. Like, if that's your kind of playstyle and you like action games, Monster Hunter might be for you, because it's essentially an action-based JRPG, for lack of a better term.
It's Ruby Weapon outside of the Golden Saucer.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't care.
Emerald Weapon is in the deep sea. Ultimate Weapon is the only one that you actually fight due to story.
Whatever.
I know, nobody cares. I'm just being...
No, that's Final Fantasy VIII, man.
Yes. 100%. The best Final Fantasy game. I will still stand by that. I don't care about your, like, dragons destroying the world and reboot of the entire MMO. 8 is still the best. I don't care what you say. It has a sword with a gun on it. Need I say more? It's so good. Anyway. Yeah, Monster Hunter is fantastic. I am now officially definitely at the grind stage, because it's like, okay, I've got like all of these 4-star missions to complete, and it's definitely going to be one of those things that's like, I will play this until it leaves Game Pass and then probably buy it, because I have that kind of problem. Somebody joined my game today and their palico was dressed like Sonic. And it made me feel dirty and also want it at the same time.
That's incredible.
So it's like this tiny little Sonic. And I'm not kidding. The palicos are small. So it's this tiny little Sonic. And when he runs, he does the Sonic leg animation too. So it looks like he's running really quick.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, no. Is that like free DLC? I hope that's free DLC. I hope I don't have to buy that, because I don't want to buy that. But I will, because it's stupid. Yeah, it's... And I always forget how many subsystems the Monster Hunter games have in them, where there's like, oh, there's the Argosy, which is the ship that you can buy rare materials from, and that has the submarines, which you send out the palicos on the missions.
Yep.
You got the Meowcenaries, which is when a bunch of your companions, yes, Boston, you are laughing appropriately, where you send a bunch of like, it's like the Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed, where you send like 4 of your things out to do a mission and they come back with materials. You've got the training dojo. You've got like hire and fire different companions based on level and everything else. And then on top of that, you've got obviously the Dango area, which now you can do missions for and upgrade and get new Dango, which is the cute little marshmallow fluffy. But I need to buy that somewhere. If anybody knows where I can get that in New York, that would be great. Not the city, the state. Thank you. You got that side of things. Then you've got the blacksmith, the million different weapon and armor trees that you have. It's genuinely insane how much crap they put into these games, and that's fine because it's deep and dense and I adore it. But there's a lot going on at all times, and like I need to remember with myself, because sometimes I'll miss like, oh, the Meowcenaries are back, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, crap, when did I last send the Meowcenaries out? And it's like 6 hours ago, and they've been back waiting for me to go and collect their stuff for a long time. Because I missed the notification that it said in the corner. At least it says notifications now, worth saying. But it's just fun. It's just dumb. It's stupid. It's great. It's mindless. And I can go in and just start stabby, slicey, and have a relatively good time. On the opposite end of the spectrum, less action, more, no, I need to replace everything and move it exactly where I need it to be. I started playing Dreamlight Valley.
One of us.
So I am very much dark clouding this game, where I'm like, no, this is unacceptable. This garden patch needs to be in front of my house. You need to move your house as far away from me as you can, all the way against that wall, because this is my area for the trees. This is my area for the apples. This is my area for the berries. All of these different stands get their own little section by themselves off in one side. I've probably played this game for about 25 hours and made about an hour's worth of progress because I spent the entire time in that really clunky, awkward to control building thing. Just going like, nope, get this trellis. Get the trellis gone. Get this fence gone. Get this path gone. Get this tree gone. Get this other thing gone. I don't want any of that stuff. I want clean lines. Perfectly set up so I can maximize my efficiency every single time I go into the game. I'm like, out my house, straight to the plants. Sort out the plants, then to the trees. Sort out the trees, gather my wood, do this, do that. All I've got so far is the Ratatouille fella. Ratatouille is his name. I don't know why I struggled with that.
Remy is his name.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's the only one I have so far because I literally did like 2 minutes of things and I was just like, okay, I can organize stuff now. Now it's time to really get down to brass tacks and make everything exactly how I want it to be. And in traditional create a character realms from games of our youth, I currently have a black hoodie, jeans, and boots on because that's how I look most of the time.
Sure.
And also, I haven't unlocked any of the extra outfits or anything like that. But it's like, yeah, this is very 90s, it feels, to just be like, yeah, this is my creative character with, you know, the thing.
A Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 kind of character.
Yes. The SmackDown wrestling video game creative character. Like, it's that kind of vibe. And it's like... I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit here and get into this game because those gathering points respawn too quick, and my inventory is too
don't
small.
Gather enough, or they don't respawn
That's how
fast
deep.
enough.
That's how deep in she is.
Yeah. Well, I only have the basic B inventory right now, so I've got like 10 slots, and my house has got like 4 chests in it with 5 slots in each, and it's just like, oh, how do I upgrade my house?
You're lucky because they updated the chests, so now there's medium and large chests, whereas before just had a chest that showed all this room, but you could only use like the first, I think it was like 10 slots.
That was
Meanwhile,
really
like
Yep,
the
that's
other
exactly
50
what I have
slots.
right now.
Yeah. So stupid. But yeah, they did finally add those, which my wife is mad now because she has to reorganize her chest room that she had.
Right.
Well, already started doing that, where it's like, this is next to the oven, that is full of food. This is next to this thing on the wall, that is full of mining
Same with
materials.
me.
Yeah,
Yep.
no,
And
she has like literally her own, there's a room that is nothing but there's a chest and then
Well-
there's a table behind the chest, and on the table she has put down the items that are in that chest so that you
Yep.
can visually see
Yeah.
in this chest are these types of stones.
Smart.
Over here it's these types of fish.
I
mean, she
will
went all
100%
in.
get there. I will get there. When I played Minecraft, that was my Minecraft thing. It was like chest, sign on the wall with the item
Yep.
in it that's in it on the wall behind it in the sign. I will get there. Right now, I just need to figure out how to upgrade my house, because right now my house is like 6x6, and it's just full of chests. It's like I feel like I'm walking into like a hoarder's house when I walk into my own house.
You
It's
go
just
find
like,
Tom Nook, get that loan.
I think you need to get Scrooge McDuck for that.
Yeah, you
Do
do.
his
yes,
quest.
that is Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge. I do find it funny that Scrooge McDuck and Tom Nook kind of rhyme. It's almost like the Animal Crossing people knew what they were doing, like at the start of this whole thing.
And the memes of Tom Nook busting your knees for not paying up bells work real nicely with Scrooge McDuck as well. So
Yep.
Yep. Which it did make me laugh. He's like, "Oh yeah, Goofy stand. You can put Goofy stand in for free, but my house costs you money." It's like, surely that should be flipped. Like, charge me 500 for Goofy stand and then have your house be free. Like, why are you charging me to build your own house? Like, I don't know. Oh, it's that kind of game. I don't have any of the extra zones unlocked yet. I don't have any of the extra crap I need to do stuff yet, and it's just like, oh no. I barely got the tools. Like, I barely have all of the tools I need, and already it's like, now I have a pet black squirrel following me around, and there's rabbits, and I need to have those rabbits. At some point, I will get those stupid rabbits, and one of them will follow me around. It's really great. I wish they didn't have the achievement in there for 17 people, or sorry, for 30 houses, because like, you've got no guarantee that this is going to last that long.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, why would you do that? Like, that's just stupid, but whatever. I'm currently farming carrots with Remy so I can get more money, so I can sell that to Goofy, so I can buy Goofy an upgraded stand and everything else involved. And I also found the golden doorknob, which now I know what that's from, because I literally watched it 2 weeks ago. Yay!
Nice.
No, Dreamlight Valley's stupid good. There are things about it I'm not a fan of. Controls can be a little iffy. I wish that certain things were a bit more responsive. That build mode is almost intolerable.
It's rough.
But it's still got a lot of good stuff going on in it, and I kind of really, really like that. And you know, I need to not think. That's what I need right now, and this is perfect for me not thinking. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna run up, hit A, like pull my axe out, and then just smash the X button as I run around to all of these different rocks. I will break a controller because of this, probably, because it's repeated motions again and again.
You can hold the button down to do mining.
Oh, I know for like the big ones, but I'm talking about like for the little ones. Like, you can't hold it and run up on a little one.
Right.
So I'm just like smashing that button before I even get to the rock, so he'll start the animation as soon as I get to the rock, and then move on to the next one and the next one. But I don't know. It's
good.
Minor pro tip. Again, dropping the pro tips here. If you haven't started playing Dreamlight Valley and you do start playing Dreamlight Valley, Goofy has a crafting table right next to his house that will allow you to build chests.
Yep.
You can go into the build mode and steal it and put it right next to your house where it belongs.
That's true. You don't have to wait to build
just
your
so
own.
you know. Exactly. Because I was really annoyed with the inventory, and then I got the pro tip dropped on me. I was like, yeah, Goofy's got a crafting table if you want to build a chest. It's like, I wonder if I could steal it. So then I just stole it and then put it literally right next to my house, where it should be. But yeah, Dreamlight Valley is great. You should probably play it at some point, and it is on Game Pass. I'm just saying. But yes, that's all I've been playing. Them, take me away.
All right. I have a bunch of quick games. First quick game, Power Wash Simulator. I played it co-op with my daughter. We are currently doing the playground. There we go. Couldn't think of the word for some reason. So far, we've gotten as far as cleaning the merry-go-round and cleaning the ground, little play mat.
Yep.
That's it. We haven't started anything else yet because she was getting bored and I was getting tired. So.
Yeah. I played that a bunch this week too, and I finished the Final Fantasy VII DLC. I don't know if you did.
No, I haven't.
Okay. I liked it a lot. I just wish there was more of it. Like, that's my only real criticism is there's 5 levels. And the first level is pretty short, and the Mako reactor like Shinra display thing was a little bit shorter than I was expecting it to be. And I felt like you got more out of the Tomb Raider DLC because most of those levels were really big. And the Final Fantasy VII one didn't. The levels weren't nearly as big, and they were like more fiddly. They had a lot more little parts. But even Seventh Heaven wasn't that big at the end of the day. So it's really good, and like all the text messages you're getting from everybody is really good. And it actually looks like they wrote a small amount of lore to have it take place right before the beginning of Final Fantasy VII. And like the last text messages you get on the last level, so it's really pretty good. I just wish there was more of it, but it's free, so like I can't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. No, I am still messing with the treehouse, which is going painfully slow.
That one's rough.
Yeah. So, but moving on from that, Minecraft Dungeons came to PlayStation Plus for the month.
You get 2 out of 2 for games that I have also played.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So I downloaded it on my PS5, started playing it again. We had originally bought it on Switch, and my wife and kids and I all played it together there.
It's really weird seeing your gamer score on your PS5, by the way. Like, I was really impressed, though, with how easy it was to link my Microsoft account. It just gave you a URL and said, put in this, like, 6-character code. And as soon as I did that, the game took, like, maybe 5-10 seconds. And it was like, oh, yeah, here you are. Is this you?
See,
like, yeah, man.
I have a complaint about that because mine will not link. I keep getting an error saying that they're having issues.
Oh.
Which... The whole trying to get crossplay to work in general just seems really weird because you have to dig through the settings to find the crossplay option to turn it on to then get that link to then get that password and then go onto your computer. But yeah, mine I can sign in on my computer, no problem. On the PlayStation, I get a notification saying we're having issues. We cannot link your account, and then that's it.
Interesting, so, especially the crossplay thing because like on the Xbox version, that's just turned on. It's just like, crossplay.
Well, and that's the thing, because like I can play right now with my son who's out in the living room playing on the PlayStation. He can bring my daughter in because he already did it out there on the PS4. But as soon as my daughter gets added to his game, I can no longer join that game anymore.
That's weird.
Interesting.
But if she's not in that game already, I can join it, or I can invite him in.
What is she playing on?
She's playing on my Xbox S.
Okay.
Yeah, that
I wonder if
it's
because it's 2 PlayStation things.
Yeah, I don't know.
It should work normally though.
Yeah, I wonder if there's still some. Sony has famously been super cool about crossplay, so I'm sure there's definitely no bugs involved in that at all.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that. So now I've downloaded, because it's on Game Pass, I've downloaded it on my Series X, so that way I can do crossplay finally. But that means now I have to restart over again for a third time because I just got my PlayStation 1 set up where anytime I roll, I have I think it's like a 40% chance of spawning a bee. And every time I hit something with my sword, I have a 30% chance of spawning a bee. I can summon a wolf. So now I have this nice little swarm of bees following me around with my wolf. and I kind of just turned it into a necromancer class. So.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It looks like with the season pass, they did the thing that we always want them to do with like the Master Chief Collection, where it's like, choose which season pass you're working on, and now you're earning experience towards that season pass.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it plays fine.
Yeah,
so
I ran into no problems.
Yeah, besides trying to get the stupid link account thing to work.
Yep.
I haven't had any issues with it. So hopefully next week we'll be able to play co-op, because my daughter really, really wanted to play it. And I was like, sorry, now I have to download it on a different console so that we can do this later.
Well, if you see me on and available, I might be able to jump into that because it is a PG game. So let me know. I might just bombard and invade your game. Because if you've got 3, I'll jump in and be like, I am the fourth. Ha ha ha.
My son's already like level 40 or something like that.
Of course he is.
He's been running whole hog on that thing. So.
He has more time than sense right now.
Yes. Continuing, unless Boston, did you have anything?
No, I played the intro mission, got to the town, and I was like, yep, it works. All right.
Yep. Continuing with games that came free this month on PlayStation Plus, I played Battlefield 2042. Excuse me a second.
Oh boy.
All right. So this was a hot mess back in, I think, 2020, 2019. I don't remember when it was released, but it was a dumpster fire, to put it very pleasantly. Now, though, in 2023, it's not broken and it plays fine.
Nice.
I have jumped into it. Does a really stupid thing where before you actually start playing with other people, it just automatically throws you into an AI match. So it's just you and a bunch of bots doing a conquest.
Pulling a Fortnite.
Yeah, I had absolutely no interest in this whatsoever. So I quit that. And I guess it didn't like that. So it just completely kicked me out of the game.
Great.
So I had to go back into the game, and then it brought me back to the main menu screen for this game. There is no single-player mission thing. It's all just multiplayer. So, which, it's fine, whatever, it's Battlefield. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is very big. It is the whole, I think it's 132 for the main big map thing. I forget what they call it now. But like I was playing as an engineer for a bit. Was having a lot of fun with the single shot marksman rifle. Switched over to assault rifle to test that out. Didn't like that as much. Went back to marksman. And then I'm like, man, I'm really getting tired of people not reviving me. So now I'm playing as support, which is a doctor, and now I get to run around and zap people so that way they revive, and I am getting tons of points because nobody revives anybody in this game.
Yup.
So I'm like dropping like ammo boxes everywhere, so I'm getting points for that. I'm reviving tons of people. I have a little gun that I can shoot people with that restores their health.
Jeez.
Like by quite a bit. So, and then I'm just gunning down fools as a doctor. It's just a grand old time. The best thing I had was one map. You're on like a rocket platform, like a space rocket launch platform. And it lifted off, blew out a bunch of smoke, which just completely covered the field. So you couldn't see anything. And then I realized that I was surrounded. And so I ran up the tower that was holding onto the rocket and got to the very top. And I'm like, oh, hey, there's like zip lines here. So I can zip down to a different location. By that time, though, we had taken out enough of them to reclaim that area, so it was fine. But just to the west of us, there was another tower that people were sniping at us with, and I was taking them out, but everyone kept spawning on the one person that I couldn't hit. So I pulled out my rocket launcher and shot the tower and killed like an entire team at once, and that was my best moment of this game so far.
Nice.
I really like the game. It sounds like there's not as much destructibility. I have seen some with like tanks blowing up like the sides of buildings and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like you can fully take out buildings anymore. It just seems like certain walls you can blow up, and that's which that it's kind of a bummer, but whatever. There are a lot of cool environmental effects going on. Like the one building that I was in that had its wall blown out, the fire suppression system turned on. So it's blowing out like all of this dense foam or fog,
That's
basically.
cool.
So you can't see within the building, but you're still like trying to pinpoint and shoot people throughout that. So it's a lot of fun times.
Nice.
I'm enjoying it. So it doesn't seem as broken, and I haven't had any issues getting into any matches either. So, and another game that I got into that's also a lot of shooting, because I was like, well, this is really fun. I wonder if Star Wars Battlefront 2 is still holding up. And guess what? It is.
Is it dead?
No, there's tons of people still playing it. I got into like my first escalation match. I forgot how long these are. I think I spent the first map that I did. I think I spent like 20 minutes playing. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. And I think that was because they were finally on their last rally point, and I didn't realize it. So my next game, when I got booted, or when I got loaded into the next one, we started all the way at the beginning, and I believe it was about 45 minutes later of ground attacks, spaceship attack, back down to the ground, back up to the spaceship, and then I think we went back to the ground after the last spaceship, and then we finally won. There was a lot going on. And the entire time, though, it's really fun, too. It's really crappy when you were the only person running along, and then all of a sudden something with a lightsaber shows up, and it's like, well, I'm screwed. There's nothing I can do about this. But the best part is when you're with a unit, somebody calls out Jedi, and everyone just turns and lights that guy.
Oh, wow.
Or there's like a random tank that shows up.
Yeah, it was always my favorite moments in like Battlefield 1. Like, I'm a huge Star Wars dog. Like, I love Star Wars. Like, genuinely, it is one of my favorite quote-unquote franchises / IPs that exist. I was way into the AU when I was a kid, which now doesn't exist anymore. I still will argue the fact that the N64 game is an incredible game, despite how broken that thing was. And like in those games, like that moment when you hear, because the sound design is so on point, which you do have the original movies to thank for this, you know which hero is just around the corner, that you're either going to have a bunch of fun helping or you're going to get thrashed just from the sound of the guns. Because you will hear like Boba Fett's guns going off and you're like, oh no, that's Boba Fett. Or like when you're in the spaceships, you hear Slave One firing, or you hear the Millennium Falcon, you're like, oh no, that's Slave One, that's the Millennium Falcon, I'm done. Like, there is no going anywhere from here. Like, I'm so finished.
Especially when you hear those sonic charges go off in a headset, and you're a little too close for comfort.
Like, it's always done so well about being that representation of, yeah, congratulations, we're all clones / stormtroopers / rebels, and war never changes, essentially.
Yeah, and it's even, I find it a lot of fun when we're in like the spaceship, actually inside the battle cruisers, and we're just like on one end of the hallway and the enemy's down the other one, and it's just gunfire. Like, you haven't even made it to the entrance of the hallway, and you are seeing all of this laser fire just coming out of this hallway, and you're like, I'm just gonna peek over and kind of lob a grenade down there and see what happens, and then you get like 4 kills, but the firing doesn't stop, and it's just then you hear a lightsaber go off, and you're like, is that my side? Is that the other side? And then Yoda shows up, and you're screwed. Or the worst one that I still hate is Grievous, only because when he runs, he gets down on all 4s and does that spider run. So you're trying to shoot him while he's like pressed down to the ground and running at you. It's like, man, this is not going well. So, but the last mode that I had played is still my absolute favorite mode, and I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's the Ewok mode, where you get dropped down on the moon. It's late night. There's no light whatsoever. It's separate at the end of your gun, and you're in the forest. I think it's on Yavin-4, where all the Ewoks live. And if you're playing as an Ewok, the whole point of the game is that you were supposed to take out all the stormtroopers before they can get to the evac. If you are playing as the stormtroopers, you are just trying to get to the evac. And the lighting in this is fantastic, because you will just see laser bolts go off, and so you start shooting in that direction. You're like, all right, what are we shooting at? Nobody knows. And then next thing you know, it's like people just start disappearing. It's like, all right, what's going on? You're trying to run through this dark forest. You keep your flashlight off because the Ewoks can see in the dark, but they can see your flashlights even better. So you like flick them on and off just to see what direction you're kind of heading into. And it's just, it's a fun little game. And sometimes it sucks and sometimes it's scary when you just all of a sudden have a bunch of Ewoks coming at you at once. And you're like, well, this is my zombie encounter. I'm done.
Yep. For all of those people who found Ewoks terrifying, now they made it real.
Yeah. It's just a really fun mode to do. So I really enjoyed that. I'm going to play more of it. I started just playing the assault class again because I had one gun that I needed to get like 150 kills on. I gave up on that gun. I'm at like 125, and using that gun just sucks. It's like the lowest damage assault weapon that they have. And it just kind of, when you shoot it, it just kind of scatter shots everywhere, and it's such a pain to use. So I just moved on to the next one. But
yep.
And then one quick story was when I was playing, I was allowed to select a Republic Commando the next time I spawned in, and I got him shooting down range, and all of a sudden Darth Maul shows up. I'm like, crap. And he's not on my team. He's on the other team. I'm like, great. He hits me once, and I was expecting to be dead. And I'm pretty sure Darth Maul, the guy who was playing as him, expected me to be dead, but I wasn't. And we were both just standing there. And he went on to kill other people. I was waiting for the respawn screen to come up, and it didn't. And I'm like, oh, I'm still in this. So I turned around and started shooting him and took him out. So we were both pleasantly surprised. My next and last game for this week is Little Witch No Beta.
Finally.
Yes. This is a short game. Well, a shorter. I beat it in 8 hours this week. Just playing on standard mode. I did not go into advanced mode because it gets super Dark Souls, and I don't want to do that yet. I just kind of want to chill for a little bit. The premise of this game is that you are playing as the witch Nobeta, who is following a black cat, and all you know is that the cat tells you that you are supposed to be going to a throne in this castle. That's all you have to go off of. You get spells or little grimoires that you find as you continue on. So, like, the first spell that you get is Arcane. It just shoots a bolt. That's it. And then it has like a little recharge timer, so I think it takes like a second, maybe two, before you can fire it off again. But as you find more grimoires of this type for that magic, it increases its damage, it increases its speed that you can recast it. Makes it a lot of fun. You can also do a charge ability where you hit square and she starts to enchant, and then basically this little bar shows up next to the sigil for what magic you're using, and depending on what level the magic is and depending on what source you are using, it does different things. For the Arcane, it just shoots like a very basically like a pierce type attack where it just blows through everything. You'll eventually find there's like an ice one, which is kind of like your automatic weapon, your fire type, which is like a shotgun, and then your lightning type, which is like a sniper rifle. All of those, when you go to charge them, they all do different things. I won't get into what they do because it's kind of cool, but you end up using them for different puzzles and different enemy types as you continue on. In standard mode, it's not, I won't say it's a walk in the park. It's fairly easy, but you still have to be paying attention because this game will still roll you if you let it. I know I had an issue with one boss because I had played this way back on Steam when it first came to early access. I bought it then for I think like $4 or whatever. Played the first boss and the second boss. I was like, all right, cool. This seems fun. I will come back to this later. And then when they fully released it on Steam, they had said, oh yeah, we're going to bring this out to consoles. So you can get this for PlayStation 4 or the Switch. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to pick it up for console now as well. Might as well. Excuse me. And it handles well on the controllers between mouse and keyboard. I prefer controller. And they added, I'm trying to think, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it is about 7, not including like different forms for different bosses. I believe there's 7 unique bosses in the 6 or 7. So you just it's all like single track. There's no real major exploring. It's just you're kind of following, a hallway down, and eventually there's slightly open areas that you can explore, or there's like a branch here that you can follow. They do have some shortcuts here and there, depending on the area that you can unlock to get back to a goddess statue, which is basically your bonfire. And then from there, at your bonfire or your goddess statue, you can level up your stats. You can buy some items, and you just carry on your way. It's very minimalistic. There's not like weapons that you're picking up or anything. There's not a whole lot of items that you're picking up. There's just like, health items, mana items. This thing will boost up your stamina or whatever. There's 4 bars that you contend with, which is a stamina, a health bar, and your magic bar. Stamina is just for dodging or running. You have a swing attack that doesn't do anything with stamina. You can swing as much as you want in this game. The funny thing is, though, too, when you run out of stamina, your character will trip and then just kind of lay there.
Nice.
So it's funny, but it's not when you're in the middle of a boss fight and you really need to move. Your magic bar is God, dog, chill out. Your magic bar is for you casting your spells. So when you do a chant, it's depleting your magic bar down. When you're casting just a regular spell, it'll deplete it a little bit. That on standard mode, it automatically generates back, as you're not using it. So I didn't run into an issue of running out of magic. But when you start getting into like some of the bigger boss fights, you do have to kind of pay attention to it. I know in advanced mode, it's a lot more demanding that you pay attention to those 3 stats. But standard, you don't have to really as much. Hang on one sec.
That was a cough, not a dog yell at.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know what is going on. But anyway. So, yeah, okay, stats, blah, blah, blah. I spent 8 hours on standard, beat it. I enjoyed it. I am planning on going back and playing it. Eventually, I will go to advanced. But like I said, I just don't want to deal with that right now. But for what it is, just playing it on standard, it is a fun, like, Souls-light game where you're kind of getting... When I died, because a boss kept throwing me into lava, and that's like a one-hit kill, I don't think I lost souls in standard mode, but you still wake up at like the goddess statue. And it's kind of funny too, when you restart your game from like a load save or when you die, it shows Nobeta just leaning up against the statue, like sitting down, leaning up against it and asleep. So when you restart your game, you have to wake her up, and then she'll get back up, and then she'll run around and continue on. So it's a very cutesy game. A lot of the enemies are just... There's like black amorphous blobs that later on, when there's barely a light source, they blend in really well. You can only tell that they're there if they happen to have eyes or if their mouth is open. That is not fun when you notice them that way. So, yeah, I just had a lot of fun playing it. And I knew I would, but I'm really glad that it came to consoles, and I'm really glad that I had the chance to play it on consoles as well. So it was just... This week, I just sat down, went through it, and just had a blast playing it.
Nice.
That's it. I mean, if you want to check out like a light game, it's on sale now. I think it's like $44. I think regularly it's $50. But yeah, it's on sale for right now for like the first week. I think the second week of release as well. So if you want to pick it up and check it out, I would highly suggest you do. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
We already talked about 2 of my games. Last one here, just real quick, is Destiny 2. Not a ton of new stuff
Has
happened.
it improved?
So not a lot happened this week. The new raid launched, Root of Nightmares, which we haven't done yet. We'll be doing that this Friday.
If ever there was a subtitle for Destiny 2, it's that right there.
That's right. The general consensus from people that have run it has been it's a pretty easy raid. And I think that's a good thing, because we have probably like 2, now 3 kind of easy raids. I like there being raids where you don't have to remember 45 symbols and they don't have 15 encounters and they don't take forever. Because I want more people to raid in Destiny. If you can say, hey, we're going to do a learning run, it'll take us about 2 hours. And it just kind of gets faster from there. And you don't have to have like the most meta weapons. You don't have to have all the exotics or whatever. I think that's a pretty good experience. So I'll talk about that next week because we'll be running it Friday. Now that all of the fragments are out for Strand, I'm feeling a lot better about Strand overall. I have a really cool build, and I've been using it in the majority of stuff, which I feel like wasn't necessarily the case for Stasis when it came out. I feel like Stasis was a lot of like, yeah, I unlocked it, but I'm going back to Void. So I've been playing that a lot, and nothing really new and huge. There's some pretty interesting story stuff from the raid, but I don't really want to spoil it here. If you played the campaign, you kind of already know who the raid boss is. It's pretty clear, and there's a cool new cutscene when you log in about what happened. Fira says, could you touch on which parts you felt might be transphobic? Oh yeah, I talked about that a little bit last week. The main character you interact with in Neomuna, which is the new city on Neptune, is called Nimbus. And the game makes it very clear that they're non-binary. It doesn't like have a pointer and say, they're non-binary, but everybody refers to them as they, them, and etc. Nobody refers to them as a different pronoun. And they have a voice. The voice actor gave a performance that sounds pretty good, and then they kind of layered like a voice modulation over top of it, because these people that you're dealing with, the Cloud Striders, are the heroes of Neomuna, and like I talked about, I think it was last week, they have all these modifications on their body, and it kills them after 10 years, but they're defending the city. So it sounds like they're kind of half robot in a way that I think is pretty interesting. But I think the pushback I was seeing, I don't like how the character's written. I don't think Nimbus is written super interestingly. I think their tone overall is much lighter than, hey, the Witness is coming to kill literally everybody in the solar system. And it's a lot of like 80s buddy cop and like Karate Kid training montage scenes, which in a vacuum is fine. Like, let's have a lighter Destiny 2 story. Let's have a lighter expansion. But the stakes are so high right now that any levity there feels a little bit off. And a lot of the people that have had criticisms of the game it's like the same people that are on Twitter saying like, oh, LOL, pronouns in bio. It's like, oh man, it's 2023. Like this person is non-binary. It's space. Like you've seen a lot of stuff. Somebody going by they, them is like the least thing you've seen.
Everything you've witnessed to this point, and the thing you can't wrap your head around, is someone calling themselves they, them.
Yeah, like pronouns are weird, and you can remember all of the symbols in the Vow raid. So like, I feel like there's been some pushback there that seems like it's kind of thinly veiled transphobia or non-binary phobia. I don't know what the real term for that is. And thankfully, it seems like it has eased a little bit, but I was pretty disappointed in some vocal parts of the community for being like, oh, rolling their eyes, being like, oh yeah, oh, I'm sorry, it's they, them, sorry. It's like, come on, man. It's not hard. It's just a pronoun. Just get over it. Get over it or get out. Either one. That's your two options. So thankfully that's been a little bit better, and I think some of the post-campaign story mission things with Nimbus that you do, it shed a lot of light on kind of their personality and their plight and what they're going through, and I think that fleshes out the character a lot. And I think now that people are getting into that stuff, I feel like a lot of people's ire for that character in specific has kind of eased a little bit. Pharaoh Rain in chat says, pronouns matter. That's right. They do. And it's the easiest thing to do. Everybody out there, just use the right pronouns. If you use the wrong ones and someone corrects you, just say, sorry about that, and just use the right ones. That's it.
Like, spoiler alert, people have been using pronouns as long as people have been speaking.
That's right. That's right. So it doesn't seem like there's anything really new that happened after the raid, because Bungie released all the fragments a week early. And the stuff that we got for getting all the fragments wasn't really raid related anyway. It's essentially the you can go through the mission to get the pistol from Titanfall, the auto aiming pistol. So you can get one of them. I don't remember what the Final Stand, I think, is the name of it. It seems pretty okay. It hasn't broken PvP quite yet, so maybe it's not super duper strong
yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something coming that's just like, LOL, this is one-shotting people in PvP through walls. Got him. But I played a bunch this week, but a lot of it is, now that there's a new expansion, it's how do you do the kind of weekly ritual stuff? Like, the game says, like, oh, you can't do this weekly mission because you need a shellcode fragment. Okay, how do I go do that? And then it's like, oh, there's a weekly quest to do this thing, to do a mission, to do... there was also a secret exotic mission. And I believe I forgot this. For a weapon called Vexcalibur, which is not a sword, but it is a Vex-themed glaive that you get by diving into the middle of a lake in the Vex network, which was really good. It was also incredibly difficult. I popped in there for a quick 20 minutes to knock this mission out and spent nearly 2 hours doing it solo. And it was really very brutally tough, but it's another one of those great Destiny quests where someone posts on Reddit and says, like, hey man, there's like these lights in the EDZ. Like you pick one up and it gives you like a hex code. Anyone know about this?
Oh, my son was telling me about that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said he found something in the EDZ about that too, and he's like, there's something to do with the Vex there, which is weird.
Yeah,
and well, keep finding them and see what happens.
it continues a background story that we have been kind of interacting with every once in a while regarding a friendly harpy, is probably all I will say. We've been dealing with this since Beyond Light launched, I think. Shadowkeep, maybe. So it's been a while. It's nice to see that whole thing and that character kind of come up. But yeah, nothing super huge right now. Bungie had their This Week at Bungie this week and said, like, hey, you want to know more about the Veil? That's coming next season. And I think all of us were just like, like grinding our teeth and just saying like, okay, that's not okay, not great. That's sure. So my opinion from last week kind of hasn't changed about, you know, you so far you have not yet told a complete story, and I don't think that's the thing that is pushing people away from the game this week. I think the extreme difficulty ramp that has been introduced in this expansion is probably pushing more people away, where you're going to be under light level for pretty much everything you're doing. And that normally feels fine to challenging, but there's a couple of cases where it doesn't feel very great and doesn't feel super rewarding yet. So I'm waiting to see if Bungie's going to kind of turn the knobs on some of that stuff. But yeah, we'll see. The seasonal storyline didn't make a huge leap this week. I think it's only 5 weeks long, which is nice. So people can kind of hop in and pick it up at any point. But yeah, Destiny 2 is still really good. I played a bunch this week because I wasn't feeling well this entire week and didn't really want to concentrate on a bunch of stuff. And Destiny 2 is right there for you when you're feeling like that.
Yup.
Yeah. All right, that's all I played. So let's take a break.
Yep.
Take a drink here.
Drank.
Yeah, Feyre, I'm enjoying it too. I just, you see the rough edges, and you think, oh man, what could it have been if they just sanded down those rough edges? Okay, are you guys ready for the rest of here?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for putting that question in there, man. We'll get to that.
No problem.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of March 13th, 2023. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure comes out PS4, Switch, and PC. Yeah, this is, if you don't know the Trails, etc. series, it's like 4 concurrent series running all at once. This is one of them. So
yeah, I think the new one makes 4.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that they just announced that they have a new Legend of Heroes game that's coming out, which looks like the SNES version of the Ys mechanics.
Oh, interesting.
So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, all right. The Dark Pictures Switchback VR comes out on PSVR 2. A message from the Switchback VR team reads, quote, Switchback's VR is Supermassive Games' most ambitious VR project to date, taking players through 5 extensive worlds that branch through various terror-filled roller coaster routes based on the Dark Pictures franchise, end quote. So, I guess, if you're into that and spent all that money on the PSVR 2 or not, it's probably appropriately spooky, and you can't get away from scary things. So, sounds about right. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon comes out on Switch. This is the Bayonetta prequel kind of character platformer thing where you and that demon are upgrading abilities and solving puzzles and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I'm really curious to see how this reviews, because it looks pretty cool. But I'm hoping the gameplay trailers so far have looked maybe a little shallow, for lack of a better term. So I'm curious to see what it turns out to be.
So there is a demo for it too, which my son did play.
That. Okay.
Yeah, he said he enjoyed the demo, but
okay, go check out the demo then. WWE 2K23 comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC.
What is broken this year?
Yeah, did they take a break last year, or was that 2 years ago?
I don't remember. Good question. I have no idea, because the WWE games have been on the EA/2K remake the same game every year BS for decades.
It's true. And last but not least, Valheim comes out on Xbox One and Series consoles. That is Game Pass day and date. I looked into that the other day because someone else was talking about it. Seems like they just are quietly working on adding a ton of content to that. So apparently, if you
don't need another survival game in my life.
Don't.
No, but you do need this game though. It plays heavy metal music during boss fights.
Yeah,
and you have to summon the bosses.
It's the Metal Gear Rising of 2023. That's good to know.
There you go. Yeah. So news stories here. Obviously, the biggest one this week is Starfield is delayed again. It's now releasing on September 6th, 2023. They're also going to be holding a Starfield Direct presentation on June 11th, 2023. No kind of passive-aggressive Phil Spencer tweet this time. He just retweeted the announcement and then kind of moved on his day, which is maybe good or bad. But
they need this to hit. They need this to hit big.
My question is, if Microsoft didn't own Bethesda at this point, I feel like it would have already been out in whatever state it was in, and they would just kind of continue to fix it up after the fact. But you're right, as much as it's not even Bethesda and Microsoft have been hyping it up, I feel like video gamesters themselves have been hyping it up to the stratosphere. But they really do need it to hit, and they really do need it to come out and work. It doesn't need to be...
It needs to be clean.
Yeah, like it can't be Skyrim working where it's kind of funny and the memes are good, but that's about it.
Skyrim was fine.
Skyrim was fine, but
you're thinking of Fallout 4 broken.
I'm thinking about like Fallout 4
Skyrim
and 3.
was pretty broken when it first came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to play that on a PlayStation 3 and it worked fine.
Yeah, forever.
I played it on Xbox 360 and it was broken.
Yeah, but I think they needed to come out and they needed to have the whatever 1,000 planets and the 150,000 voice lines and like all of that stuff needs to work and all of that stuff needs to be rock solid, because I think not only does Microsoft and Bethesda need a win, especially as Microsoft has had a pretty thin release slate over the last couple of years, especially with Halo kind of falling on its face.
So let me just get my corkboard out with all of the red twine all over it. Does this get pushed to later in the year so that Sony can't say, look, Microsoft are doing fine. They have Starfield. Screw this merger.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Microsoft is kind of plodding along and ignoring the annoying chatting crow that is Sony's objections to this merger. But I think for Microsoft, it has to come out and it has to do well, not only from a sales perspective, but it really has to prove the value of Game Pass, because there are a lot of people that have bought an Xbox Series X and have subscribed to Game Pass for just this one thing. And if this one thing doesn't work or kind of lands or is a bug-filled mess, you're going to lose. I feel like you're going to lose a lot of Game Pass subscribers.
I want to say, because they already kind of failed with Halo.
So. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Halo development staff either got laid off or left within the last couple of months. So, like,
yeah,
that game just never found its footing, unfortunately. I've heard it's good. Like I've heard the multiplayer stuff is really good, and Forge is great, and the seasons have been pretty good, but they've kind of been too few and far between to kind of be like a marquee Halo thing.
Yeah, I mean, the multiplayer felt like Halo. It was mostly just the campaign, which they borked. And I'm still not positive. I don't think we have couch co-op.
I think they were saying there's no couch co-op. I believe they were like, yeah, we're going to do online co-op. But
co-op.
Did that ever come out yet, though?
The online co-op did last year, I believe.
Okay.
It's like one of their big updates. I
haven't been paying attention. Yeah.
I think it might have been in the Forge update. Like they put out a massive update kind of all at once. So I don't know. We'll see what Starfield looks like here in a couple of months at the direct presentation. They showed a little bit of like over-the-shoulder developer gameplay here, but you know that doesn't really mean anything. But I feel like this is probably the last delay, because if you don't get it in stores for holiday 2023, I feel like somebody Todd Howard shaped might be getting fired. Not that I want that to happen, but I feel like if you miss another holiday release window for Microsoft's biggest release, I think that's spelling trouble. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it did come out in November of last year, but this game was released December of 2020. It took them 2 years to add online co-op to the campaign.
Yeah,
Granted, COVID hit, but still.
they've just never been able to find their feet. The development has just been fraught the entire time. I feel so badly for that team, because like they nailed a lot of it and they just couldn't keep up. It's a real bummer. All right, we have a question here from Toric00 in Discord. Question of Moonpear. So, question, since you didn't cover it on the show, to my knowledge, Dead Space Remake asteroid blasting turret shooter segment. How are they different, and how terrified were you getting a game over due to how little room for error the original game gives you?
So this is something that I forgot to talk about on the show. I talked about a lot of the changes, the story, the side missions, some of the like holo projection stuff. I totally forgot that this existed as a change, partially because I'm so traumatized by the first section, the first time I did it, and Dead Space 1. But they actually changed it really nicely. It's basically like a trench, and you go sink your tools up to the turret sequence, and then you aim and then hit a button and it fires from the turrets at the asteroids directly where you're aiming.
Oh, what a treat.
There is a fail status, like just like full damage like percentage. But even on impossible, it did not feel pressing. Going into it on impossible, I was a little bit nervous because it's like, oh, this is new and I have never done this before, and I hope it's not. Because the main thing with the original Dead Space, it wasn't the difficulty of that scenario. It was fine. It was the fact that there was an achievement tied to that, which was don't let a single asteroid hit the ship.
Yeah,
well, that was the nightmare.
And the thing they never told you is you can fire both cannons by pulling left trigger and right trigger. Most of us were just like, yeah, it fires the one, sure.
I want to say too, there was like a weird times, like there was a lag or something. There was something that made it a little more difficult. It was in the original. Yeah.
It was the whole, you played Elite Dangerous, so you know about this. It was the whole having to aim in front of things because it's moving so quickly.
Maybe that's
so
what it was. Yeah.
You've got to aim in front of the fast-moving objects because by the time the bullet hits there, it needs to correspond to the point in time, in space and time that they're going to meet, rather than aiming directly at the thing. That still happens in this. Like, you do have to aim a little bit in front of it, but a lot of it is like downwards, looking straight up at the field, coming directly at you. So it's less about aiming directly, because on the original, it was like off to the sides and in front of you. Whereas on this, it's very much a case of you just aim up, and there is some to the sides, but there isn't that pressure for the achievement of don't let a single thing hit the ship. It's just go do it. Now, the trench section itself is actually really cool because it's out in space. You're floating around, and at the same time, they're spawning monsters and everything to attack you at the same time. Jeez. So it becomes this interesting kill the monsters, shoot some asteroids, get to the next battery, because you've got to do it 3 times. It's the video game rule of 3s. And then when you're done with the final one, the whole thing just automates itself, and then they start, shooting the rest of the asteroids for you, and you're free to like explore that trench, get all the stuff that you didn't. It still has the oxygen thing though, which is the whole him sounding like he's running out of breath is nerve-inducing.
Oh man, yeah,
some Darth Vader stuff going on there.
It's really dark, but no, I wasn't too concerned about going into it because it wasn't so hard in the first game. It was mostly not knowing. I knew the achievement had been taken out, so that took a lot of weight off my shoulders, because like TA were like, yeah, it doesn't have this achievement from the first game.
Nice.
Yay. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Whereas like the game over, I was less concerned with, because it wasn't a hard sequence. It was just that achievement that was annoying. But no, it's a really good redo again of that little area where it's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, just go in and deal with the situation that's there. Kind of like what Isaac Clarke does, is all I'm saying.
That's right. All right. Thank you for writing in, Torek. And thank you for listening. That's the end of our episode. You can visit us at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. We talked about all the cool stuff at the beginning of the show. That your patronage over there helps pay for the show and the hosting and software and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you can't support us over on Patreon, the best way to help support us is by telling your friends, sharing on social media, commenting and subscribing and stuff on YouTube, and rating us wherever you can. The highest rating wherever you can. Nice to see Nightbot in chat is still aggressive as usual. Thanks. Chill out, Nightbot.
Yep.
All right. I think that's it. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye. I did check. It was over 50% shield strength remaining for the original Dead Space. Totally forgot the achievement is Don't Get Cocky Kid, which is a great achievement name.
Yes.
I love it.
And it is a TA ratio of 2.42%.
Jeez.
Whereas completing Dead Space 1 on the hardest difficulty is at 3.09, so it's close to that.
Wow. Goodness. All right, Nimp, what titles do you have?
I have Like a Cool Youth Group Pastor, Better Get a Book On, Meowcenaries, Wow, could not say that. Meowcenaries. There we go. I barely got the tools. And Vexcalibur.
Moon, what do you have?
Okay. Cool youth pasta. Maximize my efficiency. My house costs money. Super cool about crossplay. No bugs. More time than sense. Ewoks are terrifying. And Route of Nightmares. Route or Route? Which one do you guys go with?
Either one.
I usually say Route, but either one's fine.
See, I'm a Route person. I started to say Route because everybody around me says Route now.
I say Route off and on.
Yeah. I had a rough week. Yavin-4, where the Ewoks live, Meowcenaries, and Vexcalibur.
I think we do Yavin-4 because it's so wrong and it's hilarious to know that it's so wrong.
And yes, I know it's indoor. All I could think of was Andor, so then my brain just went to the next forested planet, which was Yavin-4. See, it even all kind of rhymes.
That's right. That's right. Let me know when you guys are ready.
That might actually be what I say.
There you go.
Sure, I'm ready.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 803 for March 13th, 2023. Yavin-4, where the Ewoks live.
Look at them in their cold, dead eyes.
You know that they actually eat the stormtroopers.
Uh-huh.
Well, we all learned a little something today.
I'm pretty sure that's canon now still. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's still canon.
It's true. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.